Hello everybody, welcome back. So there's no need to go into massive detail. I'm doing the live stream tonight for Patreon users, 8 o'clock tonight, so we'll talk about it a bit more in depth. But essentially it's carrying on from yesterday, where I said that we were so obviously bearish that we're likely to see some shorts get hunted out, which is kind of what happened almost immediately as we broke down. We hit this bottom side of the range between 28,000 to 29,000, pretty much to the tick there, and that was based upon these levels of some previous support around here, where we basically had our peak. If we think about what this is, this might not look significant, but at the time I was relatively concerned about Bitcoin. I was quite hopeful with altcoins, but the reason I was concerned with Bitcoin is because we go to the weekly, we see the money flow index had actually reached an actual peak, just like we had on the previous two tops, 2017 into 18, 2019, 2020. And yeah, so I was a little concerned for what this meant for Bitcoin at the time, but then it did carry on as people were pouring money into altcoins and then going back into Bitcoin, I suppose. Yeah, that was where I got that support line from, and essentially it's held up pretty well. This is the outside range. So the green up here was about 48, 49. This is down here between 28, 29. But the outside range has now been tagged for the first time properly. The bottom side of the outside range. So this is an obvious long, to which I actually did. I don't normally long, to be honest with you. I did have quite a few longs set up around here because it was just so obvious that this is the likely place for it to bounce. And this is all it is, in my opinion. It's all it is. It's a bounce, not a V-shaped recovery. It's a bounce. And the reason I say that is that we're pretty bearish. We've got a short signal on the Ichimoku cloud. We've also got the exponentials forming the real death cross. I know that obviously people think that death crosses are your simple moving averages, and they are, but when it comes to crypto and any asset really, to be honest with you, especially crypto, exponentials usually do it better for me, and so we are actually getting that confirmation of the death cross now. So again, this is people getting overexcited and shorting, and now they're getting hunted out. It depends how far this can go. The buying pressure is not going to be enormous, even though there has been some. It's just an obvious place for it to bounce, a very tradable range. But if we're looking to think about where we exit those longs, I mean, me personally, I've exited them already. But that's because I can't sit around monitoring my positions. I did a nice little piece of price action there, and that'll do for me. The obvious place is going to be up here about 35,000. Probably front run that a little bit. Maybe this is being front run now. 35,000 is the 10 exponential moving average, is where I'm likely to see it get rejected, just as we saw this big rejection here. And to be honest with you, the majority of the rejections or supports normally take place depending on how strong the movement is. So if we're riding up a bull, bullish, we'll get supported on it. If we're going bearish, we'll get rejected from it. So I would expect that, given what happened yesterday, despite this bounce now, we'll probably get rejected from there. But if that doesn't get rejected from there, we can go up another 1,000, 36,000 or thereabouts. And if that does break from there, then I would imagine us go all the way up to 40,000, where there's 200 exponential and the 50. Basically, the death cross is forming right now, which is a very realistic possibility to completely max out on the pain for those who are looking to who are already in shorts because of the death cross. But never mind. Like I say, the direction for me is clearly stronger for a downtrend than it would be for any kind of uptrend. All the signals that we're looking at here suggest further downside, but we are still playing within the range. We're back inside the inside range. We've tested the outside range to the low, and we'll have to see how far this can go. Personally, I'm not the biggest bear in the world, and I have to respect what I'm seeing here, which is that, we've got a sideways trend. Hopefully this could be a reaccumulation, but given the strength, or should I say the way that the chart is forming more resistance as these moving averages, especially these two here, actually form across, you have to respect what you see. And so I'm not saying let's go shorting mad on anything like that. I'm not a massive fan of derivatives. I used some yesterday for the first time in a while. I don't really go in for all of that too often, but it was so obvious that I had to do it yesterday. And if we did move up to this 200 exponential, I wouldn't short it immediately. I would wait and see what the reaction was, because I'm very aware of potential manipulation in the market, and that this could actually go all the way to the outside range. I'm not saying that's likely at all, but it's possible. And again, if I'm using derivatives, I want to make sure that I'm doing it correctly. I don't like gamble. I want to get on the right side of a trade. So I will never really promote the use of derivatives for those who don't know how to do charts themselves. You know what I mean? So if you can do TA, that's fine. I'm sure if you're already doing TA, then you're already using derivatives. But I don't like to talk about it too much, because it's pretty deadly for the vast majority of people. So, like I say, the live stream tonight, we will continue with that, and we will talk more about the Bitcoin dominance chart, which, like I say, this is the overall direction to which I think it's going to go in. So, a move up regardless of the direction of Bitcoin or altcoins trend. I think this is the general vibe of how it's going to go. Find a rejection overall to create a new alt season once we hit around 57 to 58% dominance, and then we can think about getting into altcoins, especially these small cap altcoins. And as you can see today, we are getting some bounces, and look, I mean, these are just the ones that I've got up from the videos I was doing yesterday. I mean, they are all outperforming Bitcoin ever so slightly, but that is obviously a bit of a red herring when we think about what the chart looks like in general. But there are some good reactions at the moment, and I think that this will persist throughout today and tomorrow, and then wherever we will be when we get that rejection, I think the party will soon be over for everything again, and we will come back down, and slowly but surely the market cap will be drained more from the altcoins. Possibly going into Bitcoin, but most likely going into Tether and stable coins, and Bitcoin continues to increase its market cap dominance overall until it reaches those levels that we specified. Anyway, like I say, it's not doom and gloom. We're having a green day today, and could probably even find a green day tomorrow, and with altcoins too. But again, we have to respect what we see here. There is a death cross, an exponential death cross. There is also a conversion baseline, a shorting signal on the Ichimoku cloud. It's not well, I mean, it is good. It is a good signal right now for a short, but you're looking for a good opportunity to take that short position. You really do need to think about taking that short at some resistance, because you just do not know which way this will go, especially if you're trying to play within a range that's, especially at this stage now, we're at the bottom of the inside range. They could all easily come up to the top of the inside range, if not the outside range. The whole area is very choppy, difficult to trade. This was the obvious one yesterday. I don't see anything obvious right now, other than a general daily time frame chart suggesting further downside over time. How far that will drag us down, I couldn't say. We have to take things step by step. But the obvious trade has been done yesterday. Now it's a matter of wait and see how far this reaction can be played. And if I had to say, I would expect that we probably see the rest of the day continue green, and probably into tomorrow, where we do find a rejection based around Bitcoin or wherever Bitcoin gets rejected from. Eyes on the prize here, here, and here. And we'll wait and see what happens. Overall, though, not too hopeful on the short-term time frames. Long-term time frames very much in the air as well. But so long as we're within this range, the inside and the outside range, it's not bear market yet, and especially for above 33,000. The reason I say that is because I've not got my my Bitsgap chart up, but you'll have to take my word for it. You've probably watched my videos in the past. So long as we're closing weekly candle bodies above the green 50 exponential moving average, it's not a bear market. As soon as we start to close weekly candle bodies below this green 50 exponential moving average, I would entertain the prospect of a bear market. And if that is the case, then I think the 200 exponential all the way down here is the most likely place for it to go down to, which would move us all the way down to about 13,400 at the moment. Another 60% drop for Bitcoin. You can imagine what that would do for altcoins. But it's at that point where we would probably reaccumulate there for several months before we start to move up overall. So there's opportunity in the market. And the only problem you've got really is time. Yeah, like I say, I like to look at things on weekly time frames. They offer the biggest moves. They offer the most tangible supports and resistances. And so for the moment, there's nothing particularly bullish at all about what we're looking at here. And let's just face it, we're going to have to wait and see how this one plays out and play it almost week by week is how I'm thinking of playing it. It's the best way to play it. But for what it's worth, you can use derivatives, you know, at appropriate places. You can. This is still a very tradable asset, especially when we're talking about bounces of just with Bitcoin, 8% today. Some of these smaller cap ones, you know, 10%, yeah, almost 20% on some of the ones I've seen today, and probably more than that once the day's played out. So I'll leave it with you there, and we'll speak more tonight. And if you want to join the Patreon, there's a link in the description below. £7.50 a month. You get 2 live streams a week, usually about 2 hours a piece. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you have a nice day. Take it easy.